All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Good afternoon to you, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Contractor Podcast. I am your host, Brian Hess, and I've got a young lady here with me today that is probably going to become fairly regular on this show here. Hopefully, I think I just roped her right into it to open the show here. So,
The answer is
welcome to
yes.
the show. So good to be here with you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Brian. I'm excited about it. We have a lot of exciting stuff going on. So it's great to have an opportunity to jump on here, get some of that out, get the word spread.
No doubt. So the title that I put on this episode here is "The Digital Revolution for Roofing Companies is Here." And we were talking before we jumped on here, but I think it's important for people to understand, the dynamics of everything that we've got going on at Lead Revenue, and most importantly to me is like, how does this actually help the end user, right? And so for me, just some backstory for the people out there listening, and Kimba's taken the same journey herself, but so for me, I'm a paving contractor, and I was always looking for the right marketing solution. I realized that lots of people have tried digital marketing, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're all looking for leads, we're all looking for activity, we're all looking for a digital presence that is strong and that is recognizable. And so when I found Lead Revenue as a contractor, I was like, if this works the way that they tell me it works, this is like literally the silver bullet. Not that it's easy, not that it goes on autopilot, none of that. There's no shortcuts to this stuff, right? It still takes work and commitment, but it really is an offer and a solution. Like, we have the solutions that really answer a lot of the problems that contractors have. So from me, I just want everybody to know that as a contractor myself, I've walked this journey. So anybody that has any questions, feel free to reach out to Kimba, feel free to reach out to myself. As we go through this stuff, and we are in the same world as you, and I understand what you go through, and I understand what it's like when it does work and when it doesn't work. So happy to be a resource. So why don't we just start out with this? I just want to say congratulations and welcome to the team. Kimba
Thank you.
a new on our advisory board at Lead Revenue, and it's such a joy to be able to have you on the advisory board, because I think it's so interesting how different each vertical of construction is when it comes to the community. Like, we share a lot of the same challenges, a lot of the same things, but it's like a whole different world, right? Roofing versus paving versus all the different things that are out there in construction. And so why don't you walk us through some of the challenges that you've had over the years in digital marketing, and why Lead Revenue was an attractive solution to you?
It's actually one of my favorite things to talk about, because it's so relatable to everybody out there. When we first started the business, we were talking, Brian, you come from the tech world. I do not. Okay. So we're talking about terrifying stuff that I didn't understand. And I really had to jump in and learn so much more than I had time for, right? I mean, I'm just getting this business off the ground. I've got to figure out entity structure, how to protect myself risk and liability wise. What am I doing about taxes? How am I paying employees? Culture, but all this stuff. And now I'm like, now I have to learn how to code. What are y'all talking about? Like, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. So I reached out not knowing anything about anything, and I hired a web developer. That's where it started. I'm going to build my website. And of course, I had to get somebody that I could afford, and it was what it was. But at the end of the day, my website got held hostage. I didn't know how to log into it. I couldn't get a hold of the guy. It was like a one-man operation thing. So next thing you know, I become desperate enough, and I build out, like many of y'all out there, I have built out the website on GoDaddy, just out of the box. GoDaddy website. I don't really know anything about marketing or branding or layout, or like what inspires a customer to convert at that time or anything. I'm just kind of like all about RKG on the internet. And that was my website, right? So from there, I eventually decided that I did need to build in a little bit more serious solutions, but I was terrified, Brian. And that's really my story, is that I spent 5.5 years just being terrified because I paid blah, blah, blah person over here a couple $1,000s a month to run Facebook ads for me, and I didn't see an ROI. So I learned Facebook ads, and I thought, well, at least if I understand the process, I can control my results that I get. And I learned Facebook marketing. I've been diving more and more and more into Google and understanding. The thing I'm trying to get to is I've intentionally spent the last, I would say 18 to 24 months, really understanding the bigger picture of how all this shit works together. Because the truth is, you can spend a couple grand on Facebook over here and on Google over here and direct mail over here and build a website. But if at some point these things don't have some type of synergy and start to work together, we're really just wasting our marketing dollars all over the place. And I tell people, it's like you just bazooka money all over the place when you could be sniper with that silver bullet, right? Over and over and over again, and actually know that you're going to get an ROI when you spend $1 is a beautiful thing for an entrepreneur, to just be able to believe, like, if I could put money into the machine, something's going to come out of this. Like, that's all we really want. And unfortunately, I had to go through learning so much about Google, Facebook, web development, back-end algorithms, pixels, code, all this stuff, to be able to be like, and this is my board you see behind me. These are the neighborhoods I'm marketing in. These are the different, but I have to map it out because I want to make sure that when I spend $1, there's a backup plan. It's not just about, did my Facebook ad get a click, but it's when it clicked, where did it go to? And what journey did that lead them on? And how does that eventually become a lead? And that's what, as contractors, I didn't really deserve to have to learn all that, is really what it boils. I'm a roofing company but now here I am. I happen to be, well, I have been for 5.5 years now, a growing marketing company that happens to sell roofs. That's the truth. And when I saw lead revenue, when y'all approached me about being on the board and started showing me the product, that was the first. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm taking off the last hat in my company and putting it on lead revenue head, because this is not what I wanted to do here. I want to inspire my team. I want to recruit more people. I want to be training more people so that we can be growing the company. If somebody can take this off of me, guess what? This is hours and hours and hours. And then the truth is that I'm the single point of failure on this stuff. If I don't do it, it doesn't happen. Then what? Nobody set a Facebook ad for 1.5 months or whatever, right? So I'm all about automating this process, and I've been working towards doing that with direct mail. And I just had lost hope at digital marketing. I did not think, I just lost it. And plus, not to get long-winded here, but in my world, in insurance restoration and in roofing, a lot of digital marketing companies have come to understand the profit margin of one roof. Okay, so you get that mentality of, well, man, if I can just help you sell one roof, that's going to be like $6,000 or $10,000 in your pocket or whatever the case is. So you start getting those price tags attached with these marketing services. Hey, for 5 figures a month, I'm going to add $100,000 in revenue. Well, in net profit, dude, that's not really making my dollars make sense, And so I went down a couple of these avenues, and I saw lead revenue, and I was telling Brett, one of my first things when y'all put me on the board is, I'm like, this is too cheap. First of all, in my vertical, I don't know what y'all been doing, but in my world, this is extreme. It's going to be so low price that people might even, like, I don't want to say like get nervous, but they're going to be like, is this real? Because they're used to people doing that to them, inflating that marketing, kind of using those buzzwords of like the pixel and the funnel and what is this and what is it and all the things that just confuses your average roofer is like, what is all that stuff, man? It costs $10,000. Okay. Yeah. And they don't really know. And then they go through this process of like so much money in failure, that they go, you know what? Marketing doesn't work. But the truth is, marketing does work. And marketing is what takes your business and your family, right, which is what your business feeds, to the entire next level. And you don't have to go through all the learning curves of doing that, because at Lead Revenue, there has been a system developed that's cost effective, solutions in-house where it can be cost effective and be able to handle all this different stuff for you in a way that works in synergy. That's what just had me like, it's not just marketing services, it's all the marketing services that work in harmony together. That's like, that's what actually creates results. And that's why Lead Revenue is different, because it's not the marketing, it's the synergy behind it. It's the call center, it's the live chat, it's the follow-up, it's the automated reviews. That it's not just about that ad, it's about the journey that they go down. And that's what we do at Lead Revenue. And I'm just so excited to let all of my industry know that, hey guys, those base services, your website, the advanced SEOs, the Google My Business Management with the blogs, the images, the automated reviews, the call center, right? The live chat with the person on there. This is all, everybody hold on to your seats, right? It's $1,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. And so what happens, by the way, you're telling your story and I'm sitting here smiling because I had like so much of that same experience. Like not all of it, because our industries are a little different, but
Yeah.
so much the same experience where I just didn't know what to do. Like, so for me, building the pavement group over the last 3.5 years, so much of what we did was outbound, right? Like we didn't have any way to get inbound leads. We didn't do any Facebook ads. It was all relationship based.
Yeah.
And what happened, and what the story that I always tell to people that I think resonates is when you're doing that, and let's say you get a bunch of leads or you buy a list or whatever people are doing today, right? That's their method of outbound reaching. Well, when you go out there and you sign a bunch of deals and you don't have digital marketing and you don't have an automated lead flow coming in, when you're selling a bunch, then you have to manage all of that. Like, then it goes down. And it's like this roller coaster in construction of like, okay, I sold a lot. Now I got to go manage a lot. And there's a lull in between there. So
yeah, there's always that dip.
Yeah, what digital marketing has done for our company, it's really filled in those gaps. It's filled in those dips where there's constantly leads coming in that keep us active, right? It keeps us moving forward, even when we're not necessarily sitting and cold calling, or we're not creating the outbound activity, or maybe we can't be active on social as much when we're in the middle of this big project. It's really done a great job of being able to fill in those gaps. And a couple other things that you said. Number one, we couldn't answer the phone enough. Like we got so busy that we were, letting calls go to voicemail, trying to get back to people. That was not successful. And what we found out through having phone service, or, whether you're using it full time or whether you're using it in addition to your office personnel, when people call and get their phone call answered, it's a game changer in construction.
Yeah.
We did a study.
Isn't that so?
It's like 60-something% of the phone calls that we generated leads for in a 2-month period did not get answered. 60-something%. Think about that, guys. When you call somewhere and you can't, and it's happened to me over the last couple of days, I'm dealing with issues with my car. And I keep calling and people keep sending me to voicemail, and I get like so fired up.
It's frustrating.
I don't want to deal with those businesses. And so when you, to your point, like, what I describe our services at Lead Revenue as is it's like a net, right? It's casting a net over the whole thing, right? Like, not because, much like you, I spent years of my life on social media. It's actually how I met Brett. Like I ended up at the same event as he was at. We were both speaking at it. And he called me a couple months later and said, like, dude, I've been following you on social media since we met, and I love what you do, but your website sucks. And I was like, oh.
God love him.
I said,
thank you, Brett.
It's been on my list of things to fix for a while. I just haven't been able to find the right solution.
Sure.
And so I did a demo with him, and I probably, much like you, I was like, I felt so like uneducated, like on the fact that this website should be not a place that looks nice, but a place that actually converts customers into contacts. And as we built it out. And it's funny, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day that's in a different vertical of construction. And he said to me, well, nobody else has this type of website that does what I do. And I said, neither did I. Like, I didn't know anybody that had this type of website that was, funnel-like, conversion built. And it makes it easy. When people experience digital experiences today, what do they want? They want easy. Click a button, get it delivered to your door. Same thing. Click a button, get your driveway paved. Click a button, get your roof taken care of. They don't want difficult, and they don't need fancy pictures of everything that you do and all the equipment that you own to be able to do business with you.
Right.
And so these solutions, and you hit it all. I mean, that's an incredible rundown of what we do for me.
I was like, that was the whole spill.
But it is true. It's like, when you think about that, it really is. And I know this, like, sometimes it sounds like unbelievable that it's that simple, but it is that simple. And the playbook works regardless. Like, it works for anybody. I mean, to your point, we have 18 different verticals that we serve. And like, for everybody that's listening, Kimba will text me and be like, hey, I just talked to somebody that does this. Do we do that? And I'm like, we can do that. Yeah, we work with those people. Like,
probably 4 or 5 times now. Yeah.
Yeah, and we, every time we get a new vertical to work with, like we're very transparent with them about like, hey, you have to help us understand, some of the nuances of like what's unique about your industry. But the
Mm-hmm.
playbook works for anybody. And for those of you who are listening, our business at the Pavement Group tripled from last year to this year, and I would attest it to a lot of digital marketing, online presence, and it's not, by the way, about just conversions. It's about digital presence. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I look at our Google ads, for example, and I see millions of impressions per month, like over a period of time in a market, that matters. Like
Yeah.
people start to recognize who is RKG, right? They see
Yep.
it over and over and over again. How do
Mm-hmm.
you learn who Target is or Starbucks is or whoever it is? It's repetition, right?
Yep.
So out of all the things that you have experienced with lead revenue, what you have seen, what is the one or two things that stand out the most that you think will be most beneficial to roofing companies?
It definitely the picking up the phone. I know a lot of even smaller, medium, I don't want to say small, but small to medium size companies, the owner of the company is answering their cell phone. It's transferred to the cell phone or whatever. And even, like me, we have an office team here, but they're here from 9 to 5. So if at 5:30, if she's gone for the day and it gets pushed to my cell phone, and if I'm not available, then that call's not getting answered. And so, and now Brett's probably said this to me 3 or 4 times. I said I'm going to go ahead and adopt that, but he's like, the easiest way to make a sale is to just answer the phone. And that's just been stuck in my head for so many days now, because it goes back to what I was talking about everything having to work in synergy from here to here. Because at the end of the day, the clicks on the ad is not ROI. Answering the phone is the ROI. You have to be able to get them all the way to that process. And it's almost unfortunate how we'll get them all the way there, and then we don't execute on just picking up the phone sometimes. And so that part to me really stands out. And that goes back to the live chat as well. We're definitely in a time when somebody clicks on that website and they see that funnel style layout and they hit that chat button at the bottom. I've tried that before, and if I don't get a response back in about 2 minutes, that whole just window gets closed out of my phone and I'm on to the next thing in live. So we don't have a lot of time. Now, my current, of course, lead revenue is in the process right now of redoing my whole website, because after holding the marketing this hard like a baby for 5.5 years, I went, all right, y'all's turn, boom, because I know my results are going to be better for less than my time is worth spending on it, right? And so that's just an incredible feeling. But that's one of the other really cool things is I do have a live chat feature plugged into my current website through another app. And whenever it comes in as a text to my phone. So we're back to the same thing, right? So when I can just imagine when somebody's at RKG's website, if you text my phone, I might write you back right now, and then I might write you back in 2 days, is the truth. Because if it gets past the waterline of the phone and it's unopened, I may or may not, and you know how our phones can get as busy entrepreneurs. And so it's like that way. If that message comes into my phone and then skirt, what if I don't write it back at all? What if I write it back into, I promise you, they're not sitting there waiting on me anymore, is the thing. So I'm really liking that net that you're talking about of, hey, we're going to build a website. And I like to point my fingers, because I feel like it helps people follow that don't do digital marketing, because it's like, well, I just need good results on my Facebook ad. That's truthfully, it's not good enough to have a good Facebook ad. It's not good enough to be doing well on Google. You have to answer the chat. You have to answer the phone. You have to push them back, not just get them to your website, right? People are like, oh, I had blah, blah, blah people on my website. Well, great. That made you no money unless they pushed the button and they called you and then you answered the phone and you went on and executed on doing the job. That's the only way that makes you money. And so I just hope that anybody takes that from this podcast, is marketing is not complicated. It's just so we get super willy-nilly with it. We try to go here, there, everywhere, and just throw our budget all over the place. Really what you need to do is condense all these different areas. And I was talking to I coach a handful of roofers as well. And I got a female roofer I'm coaching right now, which is just great because she's so coachable and open, and I just love it. But she's telling me right now, for advanced SEOs, her company is paying $1,250 for that service. And we're paying $1,250 for an advanced SEO service to push them back to a website that we hate and does not convert anybody. So I was like, girl, listen, see if you can't, and I really don't mean to tell anybody to do this kind of business because you sign a contract and it is what it is, and I can respect that for what it is, but see if you can't cancel it because they've got it locked into a 6-month contract. And so that was another cool thing where, I've been telling people, we've shortened ours down to 90 days. It's we're going to ask for a 90-day agreement at $1,000 a month. People in my space, roofing, you have nothing to lose. This is a no-brainer. And especially now that Brett threw on there the double your lead guarantee.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you don't pay if we don't double your leads. Yeah.
I can't even deal with that because it's like, so my thing on the board is that's also ridiculous, but also great for business owners out there. So I'm with it, but it's like, so let me just make this super simple for y'all. Okay. Like it's, you pay $1,000 a month and you do that for 90 days. And if your leads don't double, you get your money back.
Yep. It sounds unbelievable, right?
Yeah. And so let's all sit here and laugh for a second. So when she told me that, she's like, yeah, girl, I'm in this 6-month contract and I'm paying $1,250. And they also, or their company partner also built my website, and like, that's terrible. So I'm like, it's just, and that's for one service out of all these services that we're offering, Brian, so it's like she's paying that for advanced SEOs, but that doesn't include the website. We do. That doesn't include the social media marketing. That's not including the live chat or the automatic Google review system that we have, and all the different things that we have. And it's $250 more a month. So she's actually making a larger investment to lose business, because the truth is, by the time you push somebody to something that makes them uninspired to buy from you, push them to a website that does not properly communicate how they can do business with you quickly and effectively, you actually costed yourself money because you sent them to your competition, because that's the second website they went to, did a better job at selling them in a way that they could relate to and take instant action on. And so, those are the main things that are standing out to me that I've literally been telling people in my space. I'm like, before you spend $1 on your 2022 marketing plan, all I'm asking is for 30 minutes, 30 minutes, because you just need to look at this before you go waste your money in 6 different areas that we can handle for $1,000 a month is, and then of course you can add to that, if you want to spend $10,000 a month on marketing, that's so great. Dump $9,000 into actual ad spend and get results. I think spending $10,000 a month is gangster on marketing. If for every dollar you put in, ROI is coming out. And if your business can handle the fulfillment on those jobs, then that's a no-brainer to pump $10,000 into marketing. So I'm not saying, hey, minimize your marketing budget, but I'm saying, hey, minimize the fluff, bring it down, get your base organic marketing rolling and working, traction and everything, because we know, it gets rolling, and it just, as you were saying, it adds up over that time. So get that organic stuff started. Once you see that start working and you see that the ROI coming out on that dollar, it's gonna be a no-brainer for you to want to dump that ad spend on there to continue to get higher and higher level results. And that's how you're scaling your company. That's how you're growing your family, creating your vision, building your legacy, right? Like, that's the key foundation to all of it. And so if you can't tell, I'm very passionate, excited about what we're doing, because I know it's when I told my client this morning, my girl client, I'm like, so the auto world's apparently known about this for a while now.
Just 20 years. Yeah. Just 20 years. We're just slightly behind the construction. It's no big deal. We catch up.
I'm thankful that it has aligned and found its way, or is starting to, not just construction, but my specific vertical is insurance restoration. Yeah. We just branched into solar. So it's just, it's one of those, we were talking before the podcast went live about the vendors at the events and how you see so many different vendors than I see. And I'm just so excited because now for the events that we have scheduled in January and February, this is the first time that my industry, when it comes to storm restoration and solar, has seen lead revenue as a vendor at the event. And this is really the first time we're going to get that massive exposure penetrated into this particular vertical that just is honestly, Brian, just struggling. And I don't want to, of course, we all want to say our problems are worse than the next guy's. And I can respect that. I'm fixing to sound that way. But in my particular space, because you do think oh, insurance, roofers, just there's all this money. And there is a lot of money. Like you said, they spend a lot of money. That is the truest thing. And when you see all these videos at our events, you see people are pulling up in the Lambos and they're getting out in the $2,000 shoes and $20,000 suits. And we're like everybody there is fixing to spend it. I mean, it's $1,000. I told Brett this, it's $1,000 to get in. I mean, the general admission ticket is $900, right? So these people are willing to pay that to get into an event when that a month is actually going to change the course of their business. So that's what I'm excited. I told him, I said, because yesterday we were actually talking and we didn't know about putting the price on the event booth.
Right.
We thought, well, but I'm noticing I'm putting it in every one of my posts, and it's because it's one of the great things about this is it's a no-brainer to try out. It's crazy. So I actually had to hit Brett up this morning again because I was like, after we decided that, I can't, honestly, I've lost a little bit of sleep about it. I'm going to tell you, and you can tell me no, and you can tell me this is a terrible idea because I'm not emotionally attached to my ideas. If I have one, I'm just going to throw them out there and we're just going to see what works and what doesn't work, and I'm good with it. But I think the price needs to go on the backdrop. I think that it's one of those things where, to me, if I'm walking by and I see double your lead guarantee, $1,000 a month, boom, 7 services I'm getting for $1,000 a month, I'm actually going to tell my husband, my team, and all that. I'm going to be like, hey, y'all, I'll catch up with you in just a minute. I got to go. This is the booth I got to go to real quick. You know, to where I'm concerned that if it's just another marketing booth, how I feel as a contractor is I'm scared, to be honest with you. I'm like, another one of these marketers just here at our event, another one of these guys, but I'm not even going to walk over there because they are definitely salespeople because they're marketers and they're about to hustle me out of 10 grand. That's the truth of the experience of a roofing contractor walking through an event like this, seeing a new marketing company is they're fixing to take me for 10 grand and I'm not going to get shit for it. And I know I'm going to get hustled out of it and I'm going to walk this way. But if I see our booth now, I'm walking over there and going, all right, dude, you got me. Tell me the catch. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then we're going to have that opportunity to have that conversation and be able to give them the solution that's going to change the game for them. And so I had a call Brett back this morning and we ended up, actually just saw his email pop up while we've been doing this, that he sent over those final changes to go, because we're going to throw it up. We're just going to be transparent about it and throw it up and tell people what we're really doing here. And let them know it's a no-brainer. I mean, why be secretive about it? It's just...
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Good. I'm glad you agree because we didn't talk about that off of the live video with you. We just
I couldn't agree more. I think transparency is a big thing that we stand for at the Pavement Group, and it's an industry changer in construction too, right? Like when you actually pull the curtain back and show customers what it's all about, it makes them comfortable, and they're like,
yeah,
wow, man, nobody's ever told me how this actually works, right? Where have you guys been for the past 20 years of me working in this industry? And that is what the whole world needs, right? And now, it's funny that digital marketers still have that anti-digital marketing approach in some cases, right? Like where there's not, a menu to shop off of when the whole entire world of digital is still you're able to go click and get a book delivered tomorrow morning. But the people that build that, still hesitant to put those things out there for everybody. Like it's psychology, right? One thing that I wanted to plug too, that's that you didn't mention, Live Connect is a product that we have. So in addition to the phone service, there's a product that Live Connect allows any lead that comes into your website that enters their information. So it'd say, Kimba Garcia, here's my address. I need somebody to come take a look at my roof. It will literally, the minute that person clicks submit, it will ring my phone, and I pick up the phone and it says, you have a lead from Kimba Garcia. Here's her address and here's what she wants. Press 1 to connect. And so while Kimba is sitting at her computer, her phone rings and it's me on the line saying,
that's incredible.
Yeah, this is Brian calling. I know that you just put a lead on our website. And the conversation starts within seconds of that person clicking. I mean,
while they're in the mood. And that's what people need to understand, while they're sitting there in the mood. Because if you let that couple hours go by, they've already called the next guy on Google and probably talked to somebody already.
Yeah. And it's incredible. Like we use it here, and we've always done a good job of getting back to leads. But like when we implemented this particular program, people are like, how I literally just clicked, right? Like
Yeah.
you're on the phone with them within sometimes 10 or 15 seconds.
That's
Of them
wild.
clicking.
Yeah.
And
That's super
so,
exciting.
yeah,
Super cool.
and those I could show you in my system, like how much higher those convert than people that you call
Because
back.
think about that instant trust you just built.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's the opposite of hard to find. He's definitely not running away with my money. I can definitely put down a deposit with this guy. He's super available.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and that's a definite game changer in our industry. That's the only other thing I wanted to mention. I had the opportunity yesterday. I was really thankful for some of Brett's time to get to run through some of the back end of how our approach to the Google My Business and really just getting in all that. It's just crazy that none of it, like you said, I mean, none of it being like major rocket science, but the consistency behind what it takes to go in and regularly be doing all these different things every day to be able to really grow those SEOs. And I just share that to say that I've personally got to see the value and the differentiating factor, I guess, between the lead revenue process and fulfillment on the way that our team is going about handling the customers' marketing campaigns and approach. It was also unique, and even some of the things that are being used to get these results are actually still in beta with Google. So I thought that was really cool to understand our relationship with Google and that we do have access to those first things as they're coming out to be able to get those results first. And it's one of those things where in the digital marketing space, because the SEOs do take that little bit of time to grow. So it's like the faster you're out the gate before your competition, you're just that much ahead of the race. So if our customers are able to access any features that Google betas or comes out with through our services, they're able to be out of the gate faster on those services and even utilize them in beta while they're probably a little bit lower cost per click or per reaction or whatever. So that was super interesting, and I was grateful for that few minutes yesterday to be able to just really get to like touch, see, feel, smell, like the whole thing. The guts of it all was super cool. And definitely one of the other things that stood out to me, because I was like, I'm just really full picture understanding why this gets results and why it can get results and still be priced the way that it's priced was really cool to, because you do think like, how can it be this good? How can this be real? But I saw how all that works. And that's what's really exciting is people can just click the link, book a demo, and in 30 minutes can also understand why this works and why they definitely don't need to go spend any money on the 2020 marketing budget before they do that and look at this, because they're probably just going to be mad at themselves if they go do something else first. So it's one of those shop us first, shop us last. Just make sure you do the demo before you sign anything with anybody, because you're definitely going to want to see this. And I don't know anybody in the marketing space at all, because it's crazy. Brett's crazy. We're all crazy. But for anybody to say, we're going to double your leads or give you your money back, nobody's going to say that to you. No. Nobody in the marketing space, because in marketing, we always say we can't promise results, because we don't really have, you can do your best, or you can write the best copy or have the best this or that, but it really comes down to your market, your audience. And it's always kind of, that's what we do. We throw out an ad and then we look at the data and then we tweak it, and then we throw it out and we look at the data and we tweak it. So it's hard to be able to put a guarantee on marketing, and that's why you don't see people do it. But here we are doing it, because we can see the results and the synergy of the processes that are built here already, and every time that a problem is exposed, the solution within Revenue's own umbrella is built and plugged in there, like the Live Connect and the chats and the phone service, being able to follow up on all that stuff. So now it's just it's just the lead machine that actually gets you from that web, from the ad, because that's where they come in through the ad, they go to the website, they end up on the phone, one click connect, and we're here in 10 seconds. That's what makes this work, and that's really what people need to understand.
Yeah, that's the net, right? It's like, and to give you guys some context on some of what Kimba's talking about there, like my real life experience running Google ads, for example, at the Pavement Group, like, a normal pay-per-click for, I'm in Pittsburgh, so like paving Pittsburgh will be somewhere, $5 plus per click, right? To get that person to your website. And we've got unique methods and approaches that we use to drive that traffic a different way. And I just looked yesterday, my average pay cost per click for 2021 is 44 cents. And so imagine the traffic that you're getting to your website. Imagine the people that recognize your brand. And those are all, to your point, lead revenue is a Google Premier partner, which is not an easy thing to achieve. And Brett has done millions, probably tens of millions of dollars in ad spend in his career with Google. And so his knowledge of that stuff, as you experienced yesterday, is just on another level than anybody else that I've met. And he's still, involved every day, up at 5 a.m. talking to customers and doing 30 something demos in a matter of a couple of days himself. Right.
Yeah.
And so, this is, I don't want to oversell it, but it's hard to not, like, this is just the reality.
It's hard not to. It really is. Yeah.
And so
it's so funny you say that, because whenever I first came on the board, you told me Brett's the first person I talk to when I wake up in the morning and the last person I talk to at night. And I think it's so funny because I'm usually up at like 5:30 in the morning drinking the coffee or whatever, and that somewhere between that and 8 is usually when one of us, one way or the other, is going back and forth. But that's, I don't know, not that it's the Sell Brett show or the oversell lead revenue show here, but it really is inspiring to see an owner of the company at this level and this caliber, like, still so plugged in and involved and passionate about what we have going on here. Is just a super unique proposition to the company. You don't get the feel that, you just come in as a number. Like, it's been, it's a very personal through the whole company. It's been my experience so far. So yeah. That's been a super cool feature at lead revenue as well, because you kind of wonder, like, who's behind the brand sometimes, Yeah. And the answer to that here is just the most, you wouldn't even know who he was if you didn't know who he was, because he's just going to get on the call and do the demo with you when he has time, and for the ones that he has time to. So that's a really fun part of this company as well, that I think it's important for people to at least know at least a little bit about who he is and why it's so good and what his experiences and his knowledge base is, because it is a lot different. And no offense to anybody, but the kid that's been doing it since yesterday or whatever, this is a little different. And his relationship with Google, to be able to know the things he knows and gets the results that he gets, is just obviously going to be a little bit different. Yeah. So, and by different, I mean better. So,
yeah, no doubt. I share this story all the time. There's a guy on my team here at the Pavement Group, and in addition to working here at the Pavement Group, he also owns a fireplace store on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And so when our stuff started working, he was like, "Hey, can you connect me? Because I want to get involved with the fireplace store. I'd like to move my stuff over." And so I connected him with Brett, and he calls me after the demo, and he goes, "That's the guy you were telling me about? Like, what is that guy doing on a demo for a fireplace store in Cape Cod?" And I was like, "He does all the demos. Like, he does as many as he can possibly get his hands on himself." And he was just like blown away by that. But that's who he is. And for those of you who want to learn more about Brett, just to plug my own podcast, I've got the Perspective podcast. There's an episode of an interview that I did with Brett that will really allow you to get to know him a lot better as a person, kind of his journey, and to learn kind of what he has done in his career. Has successfully exited a previous digital marketing company for a significant valuation, 9 figures, and back at it again, doing this and building this again. This company also, from a financial standpoint, backed by private equity, so very stable, and the future is bright. So super excited to have you, sister. And man, this was fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
38 minutes never went by so fast. So
wow, I know. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. And hopefully, I just really thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you take some action on this. Hopefully this 38 minutes we spent with y'all was something that'll change the game in 2022, because that's definitely our goal.
You got it. Well, thanks for joining me, and we'll do this again soon. And to everybody out there, thank you guys for listening. This is another episode of the Digital Contractor Podcast, and we will see you again next week with more information on digital marketing and how to scale any business that you got, but specifically construction businesses. We try to bring as much knowledge as we can to the construction industry and bring as many solutions that solve the real problems that you have. So see you again next week. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Bye-bye.